Welcome to the GCN Tech Show.
Coming up this week, Ollie's wearing a cap, we've got gold Oakleys, we've got the most expensive chainring on the planet, Richard Branson's custom Trek, Pogacar's loving disc brakes, and crucially, I've got more information about the Tour de France plane.
And our main talking, I can't wait for that. Our main talking point this week is how much in 2021 does a Tour de France bike cost?
First up, well, we can't do the poll this week because we didn't do one last week, so let's go straight into our main talking point, shall we?
Yeah.
So we're going to be discussing how much bikes at the Tour de France actually cost. It's a question we're asked loads, isn't it?
Before we do that though, got my cap on. People are going to ask about this.
They are.
Available in the GCN shop, new caps. This one's a navy blue one.
God, it's nice, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm wearing navy blue because my mum says it brings out my eyes.
Oh,
I'm going to wear it backwards though.
Just to make you youthful.
Yeah.
Anyway, how much a Tour de France bike costs is so we're asked all the time. You guys at home, keen cyclists ask us, even people like Ollie's mum ask how much a bike costs.
Yeah, a policeman stopped me and asked me the other day how much my bike cost.
Well, there is in fact a range because there's no set limit or rule on how much the bikes can cost. And there are in fact 18 different bike sponsors at the Tour de France.
Yeah, there are 23 different teams at this year's edition of the race, but some of the teams use the same bike sponsor. So for example, Quick-Step and Bora both ride Specialized. There's 3 teams riding Canyons, Alpecin,
Movistar.
Arkea and Movistar, yes. And well, there's a couple of teams on Villiers as well, and Assos, Quebecer, and AG2R, Citroën, both riding BMCs.
Anyway, the brands vary quite a lot in price, but typically you can expect to pay at least around £10,000.
Yeah, that's been kind of a general rule of thumb that's been banded around. And that is a lot of money. But it's not much money when you compare it to, say, a Formula One car, which typically costs 12 million.
Yeah, okay,
That is horses for courses.
Yeah, it is horses for courses. But anyway, first up, let's start with the Ineos Grenadiers. So they're riding the rather beautiful, all-new Pinarello Dogma F, which comes in as a complete bike at around £12,000. However, that's for a complete bike and is different sort of spec to what the teams are using, isn't it?
Yeah, this highlights a specific point. When teams get their bikes from their sponsors, they don't typically get a complete bike like you or I would go and buy down a shop.
Yeah.
They buy, they get the frame sets. So the team are supplied with frame sets from their bike sponsor, then they build them up with the components from other sponsors.
And those frame sets are available, aren't they? So the Pinarello Dogma F frame set is £5,400.
Let's add the other stuff on. I've made a list, Alex, of all the bits they had on their
love a
bikes.
list.
Check this out.
Right, have a little look.
Ineos bikes, typically Shimano pedals, Dura Ace, £180.
Yeah.
Then they use a Garmin 530 head unit, £250. Shimano Dura Ace group set, minus the chain set, £2,500.
Yeah.
Plus a Shimano Dura Ace power meter, that's the chain set, £1,000. Most bar tape, £25. Physique 00 saddle, like £280. Then they use wheels. Of course.
They do have wheels, yeah.
They're right, lightweight Meilensteins,
Yeah.
sometimes. We've seen Carapaz using those on Von2. £4,679 for those. Don't worry, I will convert the total price into dollars. But they also use these Princeton Works wheels at the moment, these Peak 4550s. Well, if you want a set of those, they're £3,400 as well. So about £1,000 cheaper than the lightweights. And then they're going to need tyres. Couple of Pro Limited Contis, £140.
Are they the ones that you can't technically buy?
Yes.
But you have a price for those?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And then bottle cages, £60 for the pair because they use the nice Elite carbon lightweight ones. What does that come to?
So just some quick maths off the top of my head. I think that's about £14,514. But would you like that in dollars as well, did you say?
Yeah, do more quick maths.
I think that's $20,110 and 15 cents if you want to be precise, off of today's conversion rate.
Impressive, though.
Yeah, it is impressive.
Well, what about Pogacar then? I mean, at the time of filming, he's leading the Tour de France in yellow, and he's probably going to win it. What bikes he got?
So Pogacar's riding the beautiful, just like I said, the Pinarello's beautiful. It's the Colnago V3 RS. It's a bit of a stunning bike, isn't it?
Yeah, he's got a special yellow one as well.
Pardon?
He's got a special yellow one.
Oh, he does have a special yellow one. He's leading the Tour de France, like he said. Anyway, so that frame set comes in around £4,000. Although in the past, we have spotted him riding a super lightweight version which we haven't actually seen for sale yet, have we?
No, but I've made another list. Check this out. Right, so he runs Campagnolo Super Record EPS 12-speed. It's quite expensive.
Yeah.
So you're looking at about £2,670 for that. Pro Logo NAC saddle on there, carbon rails, £300 for that. And then wheels, okay?
Yeah.
We've seen him using two. So he's been using Bora 1 tubulars, which aren't the most expensive Campag wheels. You can get those for about £1,700.
Oh, absolute bargain.
Yeah, and they're tubular, so they're a bit lighter.
Yes.
But he's going against Campagnolo's advice, which is to use the new fancy pants, top expensive Bora Ultra WTO tubeless ones that we used on the Dream Ride.
Oh, they were good, weren't
They're
they?
a little bit heavier, but they're said to be faster because of the lower rolling resistance and better aero. So even on a mountain stage, they're said to be faster. So he should be using those, really.
Well, I've kept a tally of what you've been saying.
No, I've not finished yet, but they're putting too much emphasis on weight, these pros still. Although he has used them on flat stages in his defence. Anyway, he also has an SRM power meter on there and PC8 head unit. That's €2,600 respectively.
Yeah.
So you're going to have to convert that into pounds in a minute.
Yeah.
He's got Deda Elementi bars and stem, that integrated thing, £760.
Yeah.
Pricey. Look Keo Blade carbon pedals, £150. Bottle cages, slightly cheaper bottle cages on his bike, £50 for those.
Okay. Is that each or a pair?
A pair.
Okay, yeah.
Tyres, keep a tab. Tyres are Vittoria Corsa G tubulars.
Pair?
140 for the pair.
Okay, yeah.
And, well, yeah, what's that coming in at? Quick maths.
So some of those were in euros, weren't they?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, so across the pounds, I think that's £11,991. Pretty good. Do you want that in dollars?
Yeah.
$16,613.29. Again, off of today's conversion rate. I don't want anyone picking me up that's wrong when this video goes out. But what about Mark Cavendish? Because he's having an absolute blinder of a Tour de France this year. So Cavendish and many of the other specialised sponsored riders are quite an easy one because they're basically riding similar bikes to what you could buy off the shelf, off the peg. You and I could get them.
Yeah, right down to even things like the tyres, the specialised clincher tyres that they come with.
I forgot those, yeah.
Cav's been riding those, and a lot of the specialised sponsored rides are because they say they're faster, even though they're slightly heavier. And the top-end specialised bikes often come with power meters too, meaning that you can have one for £11,500, and it's basically Cav's bike, although the saddle might be a little bit different. The other thing you'd have to add onto that would be pedals, it doesn't come with those, and a bike computer, so about £500.
But that takes us basically to the £12,000 marker.
Yeah, it does say, call it 12 grand. The other thing that can massively add on to the price of a pro bike at the Tour de France is the paint job. Because a lot of pros have special custom paint jobs if they're like a national champion or a world champion or something like that, or maybe even just leading the race. And in the past, we've seen some really fancy ones that aren't really commercially viable because they're so expensive. Such as last year, Sunweb were using this really thin sort of vapor coat paint on their bikes that had come from Formula One and was being done at Silverstone, and it added just 16 grams onto the frame, the bare frame, which is really, really light. And typically paint can add a lot of weight. Paint can add hundreds of grams if it's conventional paint.
It can add a good bit of weight, but they are incredibly cool looking, especially these real sort of intricate paint jobs with all the little details and the fancy colours. They add a bit of weight, and of course, like you said, they are expensive. And riders, certain riders, are almost famed for having a custom painted bike, aren't they?
Peter Sagan,
Julien Alaphilippe, they're both obviously specialised bikes.
Yeah, I'm world champions.
Well, world champions. I mean, if you're a world champion, you deserve a custom painted bike, don't you?
Yeah, and when you get a really intricate custom paint job on a bike, it can add easily thousands onto the price. But it's important to point out that in most cases, the teams don't buy the frames and components that they're using. They're built for the major teams, into sponsorship deals where the manufacturers of these frames and components supply the bits to the team for free and then pay them money on top of that in order to use them and get the exposure.
Yeah, they're supplied like a specified pre-agreed amount, aren't they?
Yeah.
Which all the teams work heavily with. But that's not always the case, because there are teams out there, particularly Ineos started this trend off, where they will actually buy some of their components separate to their sponsorship deals. The lightweight wheels are a perfect example of this, or the Princeton Works carbon ones. And lots of other teams are also now doing that in the time trials. Lots of teams are using custom cockpits, for example. And that's just something that wouldn't have been done a few years back, is it?
Yeah, and well, a lot of teams don't have a group set sponsor. It's quite a big one.
No, they don't
Shimano doesn't
anymore,
sponsor every team that uses Shimano, so some of them do end up buying components. But in terms of how many bikes do the teams have, considering how much they cost?
A lot.
It is a lot. Sponsoring a pro team and providing all the frames and bikes is a big, big commitment, especially if it's a smaller bike brand. So the riders will all have training bikes that they have at home, but they don't race on. These bikes just get abused. And then at the race, they'll have their specific race bike. Then additionally at the race, they will have a couple of spare bikes because they have one for each of the team cars. And then there'll be some spare frame sets in the team truck as well, in case they crash and they total a frame and then they need a new bike being rebuilt up. So all in all, you can typically expect with 8 riders per team that, well, you're going to have around sort of 30 frame sets in a team truck. We've seen this. And then on top of that, they have their time trial bikes, and they need some spares of those as well. So it can be another 20 bikes on top of that. We've seen in the past some teams take 60 frames.
So if we're saying 60 frames or sort of 60 bikes, I guess it will vary a bit team to team, and we've just been saying upwards of £10,000 to £12,000 a bike.
Quick maths.
What's that? That's like £740,000.
That's a lot, isn't it?
I haven't got the conversion to dollars on that one quick enough, sorry.
What's happened?
We'll have to save it for next week. I'll do some research. A question we're quite often asked is, can you buy the same bikes that they ride in the Tour de France? And the simple answer is, normally, 9 times out of 10, if your pockets are deep enough, you can go out, source all of those parts and get it built up. But it is going to cost you a lot of money. There are some instances, though, where you may well struggle. That's when some components aren't mass produced or they aren't yet commercially available. So in that case, you're going to be stuck and you'll have to use the next best thing.
Yeah, and we have mentioned in the past as well that you can often buy bikes that have been pre-owned and used in the Tour de France. Sometimes the bike brands will actually sell them on a used price, and you can actually get a bargain. Just be aware that sometimes they've seen a lot of mileage.
A bit of a hard life somewhere. Yeah.
But let us know your thoughts on this and any questions you have in the comments section below.
Right, it's now time for Hot Tech, and I'm going to kick us off with something that I spotted last week. So I saw Michael Woods on the Tour de France rest day riding these outrageous carbon wheels from Black Ink. These feature 5 carbon spokes. Now, obviously, they're not UCI legal. That's why I was riding on the rest day. But as, I guess they got 5 carbon spokes, and as the little name on the side of them suggests, they're called 5.
Oh.
What do you make of these?
I think I prefer 5, the 90s boy band.
Not made by carbon fibre though.
5 will make you get up.
Apparently so. Anyway, these got 5 carbon blade spokes, full carbon construction. They're suitable for tubeless as well as clincher tyres. They've got a hooked construction. They're disc brake only. They are $3,500. Don't ask me what they are in pounds. And they weigh 1,290
Your quick
grams.
math skills have really waned in the last 5 minutes.
Yes, I think I've used all my mathematical skills up. But I think these, I don't know, part of me wants to say they look cool, and part of me wants to say I don't really like them. What do you want?
Don't know.
Okay. Right, up next, we'll be talking about what we're going to have. Richard Branson's custom bike.
Oh yeah, nice. Richard Branson's got a custom Trek de Marne that he rode to this spaceship.
Absolutely no way did he ride this to a spaceship.
No, that is a factually correct statement. Take a look at this, right? Richard Branson rode this custom painted Trek de Marne to the launch of the VSS-22 Unity space plane that he's created.
Who knew?
Yeah,
I know.
And the design on the de Marne is said to resemble the spaceship.
It's quite a cool looking bike, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, but I think we should find out what the audience thinks. Hot or not, Richard Branson's custom painted Trek de Marne. What you're saying, you can vote in the poll.
I'm going to say, irrespective of whether you actually like the bike, the fact that it matches up to a spaceship, that's doing it for me.
I really like it. I think that's a really nice paint job. I'm going to go hot. But apparently he's quite a keen cyclist, Richard Branson, as well. He's mates with George Hincapie, and he's done the Cape Argus in the past.
Sounds like you're good friends with him as well.
I'd like to be.
Please, Richard.
Next up, we've got some new mountain bike / gravel shoes from Specialized.
These are the S-Works Recon, and the big change here is that they're now available with laces as well as the Boa dials. So these feature the same sort of construction and design as the S-Works Recon with the Boa dials. So you've got your carbon outsole, it's got 13 on the stiffness index, it's got sort of protective toe box, you can put spikes in it, good adjustability on the cleat, additional 5mm rearward movement, make sure you get your cleats set up perfectly. 280 grams these are weighing in at for a size 42 shoe, which interestingly is 10 grams heavier than the Boa version.
Oh, the laces are heavier than Boas.
Yeah, there you go, you heard it here first. These are £300, 325 American or US dollars, and if you're in the US, Australia, sorry, they're $330.
Next up, we've got some cool sunglasses tech. Mark Cavendish, dominating the sprints at the Tour.
Yeah.
He's also been wearing a special edition gold version of the Oakley Katos. Now, you may remember we spoke about the Oakley Katos a few weeks back, and when they first launched, and Alex was wearing a pair.
I modelled them very well. I feel I modelled them well.
You did very well.
Oh, thanks, mate.
Very good.
Yeah.
And we did a poll on the Oakley Katos.
Yeah, we did. Actually, I've got the results here of the poll.
The previous poll.
So the previous poll, where we asked hot or not, 31% said not. No, 31% said hot. So,
Yes.
and that leaves 69%, which said not.
So we've decided that now they've turned gold, and also Cav's been winning lots of races wearing them.
Has it changed people's opinion?
Yeah, have they got cooler?
Cooler than when I first wore them.
Yeah, so we're going to do a revised, a new, hot or not, gold Oakley Katos Cavendish Special Edition. Are they hot or not?
Head over to the GCN app, let us know what you think about them. Up next, we have quite possibly the most expensive chainring on the planet. So Aerocoach, the tech boffins behind loads of cool bike products, have made a brand new aero chainring for the track to offer riders quite possibly the best option available.
Yeah, it's machined from a single piece of titanium, which is going to make it quite expensive.
Yeah.
And then it's coated in titanium nitride, which is an incredibly tough ceramic coating that reduces friction and wear, and is also responsible for it being gold in colour, because titanium is a silver metal, and that's why it's that colour.
Looks very cool, doesn't it?
Yeah, but it's not kind of, about just looks and aesthetics.
There's far more to it than that, isn't there?
So the reason for manufacturing the chainring in this way is that, you can reduce sort of friction, make it hard wearing, but also it's very, very stiff and strong, which is important for powerful track riders.
Yeah.
And it's slightly more aerodynamic. So the shaping of the carbon back plate, which attaches on to the chainring, is there to improve the aerodynamics over the chain ever so slightly. It's not a big thing, it's a marginal gain, but this is something that's designed for the pinnacle of the sport.
Yeah, so on the front of it also has a very carefully machined profile around the edge to mimic the profile of the chain as well, again, to aid aerodynamics. And the coating also reduces friction between the chain and the chainring. So it's all about marginal gains, like you said. In fact, there's some pretty bold claims with this chainring, aren't there? So Aerocoach say, through its thorough testing, that this chainring equates to an advantage of 25 centimetres on the track per lap. So that's a clear 1% advantage, isn't it?
Yeah, at the Olympics,
Yeah.
that's a significant margin, isn't it?
Yeah,
Pretty cool.
It's quite an expensive chainring though, isn't it? What's it coming in at?
Well, if you want one, you're going to struggle at the moment, because every single one they can possibly make, and they're made in very small numbers, is going to be going to Tokyo. But after Tokyo, maybe you can get your hands on one. £950. It's expensive, but I asked Aerocoach about this. They told me that obviously they're not mass produced, and they're out of a single piece of titanium, and the tool they use to make them and machine them, it only lasts one chainring because of that coating on the titanium. It wears it down.
That's incredible, isn't it?
New tool required for every chainring to machine it.
Up next, if you haven't been in the world of cycling for the last couple of weeks and haven't seen the Tour de France, you won't be aware that Mark Cavendish He's basically setting the world on fire again, isn't he? He's winning sprint stages like there's no tomorrow. And crucially, he's now doing so using clincher wheels and tyres. Although he isn't the first rider to win a stage of the Tour de France. Using clinchers. No, Alaphilippe last year, he wasn't the first one either. So you have to go all the way back to 1992 when Claudio Chiappucci won stage 13 of the Tour de France using clincher tyres. Now, obviously, they were quite different to what we see riders like using now, like Cavendish, for example. But it's a cool, interesting fact, one that I didn't know. However, a kind person here at GCN Megabase pointed this fact out to me last week.
He was ahead of his time. He was like a tech prophet.
Yes.
You should get a picture of him on the wall.
Like a shrine.
Yeah. Other big tech take-home story from the Tour de France is that Pogacar has been riding disc brakes like all the time. Last year's race, he rode a mixture of rim and then disc on the flat stages. But yeah, he's fully disc, so it could be the first year we have a winner of the Tour de France on disc brakes.
That's really cool, isn't it? Nice. But crucially now, because I promised you at the start of the show, I've got more information about the Tour de France aeroplane. So I've done a little bit of research online, and if you happen to be in the market for needing an aeroplane, there's the Beechcraft King Air B200 is the plane which is used by the Tour de France.
The Tour de France plane is for sale.
Not specifically that one, but I found an exact replica.
But once we buy it, we can paint it yellow.
Yeah, once we buy it, we can do whatever we like. $829,000. But let me give you some of the specs of this bike, because we're all about specs. This is a 1991 model. It's got Pratt & Whitney engines, although they will need a service after, I think, 2,500 hours of running. It's got Wi-Fi, leather seats, it's got executive desk, it has a toilet.
Aircon.
I assume it has aircon. And crucially, the owner did say a couple of key points to note. There's no damage to the plane, always good when you're buying a plane. Yeah. But they did mention that the landing gear and the hydraulic brake systems will need a service next month.
What about the machine guns?
I don't think the machine guns were included. We'll have to sort of barter for those.
Okay.
Do you think if we maybe like club both of our credit cards together, we could get it?
I think we'll need to crowdfund it from the GCN audience.
Oh, well, crowdfund, yeah.
Let's set up a crowdfund for the Tour de France plane.
More hot tech next week.
Cha-ching! Time now for Screw Riding Upgrades by Upgrades, where you submit upgrades that you've made to your bike's equipment or cycling lives for the chance to win the ultimate prize. You submit the evidence of your upgrades in the GCN app, and the ultimate prize is a GCN water bottle, or bidon if you're French or pretentious.
Interesting fact I actually only found out this morning is that lots of these water bottles get sent out and then get returned back to us. So if you're lucky enough to win, make sure you get your address perfectly correct so that you can get your water bottle. Otherwise, it just gets returned to us.
Yeah.
Anyway,
last week's poll,
yeah.
Cloudbuster, his free to a good home restoration build, versus Who's Your Daddy Now, and his mini velo drop bar conversion.
I've only just recovered from you saying that from last week.
Yeah.
So anyway, the winner was Cloudbuster's good to home green restoration with 63% of the votes.
Yeah. Well, well done.
Good job.
Get in contact, and I guess Cloudbuster is Who's Your Daddy Now's daddy. Who have we got this week?
We've got Skylord 34G Gas. Interesting. Says, this bike was gifted to me from my uncle. I've been riding it for 3 years now and decided to deck the hell out of it. And I'm loving this thing, they say.
In Yorkshire, if you deck something, it means you beat it up. I'm going to deck you. That's what it means.
Anyway, back to cycling related talk. So this is a giant TCR, which it looks like it has sort of entry-level components to it.
Good gift.
It is a very good gift. So then they've decked it out. God, we've got carbon wheels, we've got Ultegra rim brake, mechanical group set.
I think that looks. Those wheels look great. Those,
they do look great.
Yeah.
Very distinct change of scenery in the background, though. We've gone from a sort of wooden shed theme to a what I would say looks like, I don't know, a very foreign-looking country to the first one.
It's a cool pad. There's a basketball court there as well. I can see.
Oh yeah,
it's good.
Cool. I think it's cool.
That is a really.
I like the look of the geometry of those sort of TCRs. That's real sloping top.
Those deep wheels really do suit it.
It's cool, isn't it?
Right, it's going to be up against Hello 75. Okay, who says that a friend of his found an abandoned Bianchi frame with Tiagra on it. I mean, that may or may not be a euphemism for stolen.
It may or may not be that.
We're going to say it's not.
No, he said he's left signs on the bike to make sure. So they've really done their homework to make sure they're not stealing a bike. So good work.
Good work.
Yes.
Anyway, he's given it a good clean, total headset service, new wheel, put some Dutch handlebars on it from an old long-tail bike that he's got, and he's put it back on the road as a commuter, refurbished. What do you make of this?
Oh my God, look at the old headset.
I love that picture of the bearing. That's amazing. That is, oh God, that's horrendous,
that
isn't it?
poor headset has had a hard life. But the finished article, where are we?
I love that.
Nice.
I love the photo location choice as well. Welcome.
Yeah, welcome to my new bike.
Yeah, that's great.
Very kind and pleasant.
Yeah, that looks really smart, that.
That's a cool town bike.
It's a nice frame, and you've done a great job with that. You should be proud. It's really good.
Well, there
Dig
you
it.
go.
Dig it.
Don't take our opinions on these upgrades. Head over to the GCN app and vote for which one you like the best. It's now time for the Bike Vault, where you submit pictures of your bikes. Ollie and I judge them to then be either nice or super nice. If we decide it's super nice, I ring the bell.
Yeah, you can submit your pictures using the GCN app. You can also vote on any of the bikes featured. So first up, the most voted on super nice from last week. What was it?
It almost pains me to say this.
Yeah?
So it's the Pinarello Dogma F, brand new bike out. And then as I was looking at this, I realised it's from you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's me.
It's not fair. You shouldn't count.
But anyway, I did submit it because it is a really nice bike.
Cool looking bike.
Yeah.
And quite a cool picture. Where on earth was that?
It was at a top secret location in Bath. But people did comment suggesting I was trolling the audience by not lining up the wheels.
Oh yeah.
I didn't line up the wheels. So the reason why I didn't line up the wheels is because I've used the shadow stand to take the picture, and you'll notice that's a very smooth, shiny marble surface. And the bike, it was really hard to get the bike to stand up because it was so smooth and slippery that by the time I'd got it, it was like, okay, it's not moving. I quickly took the picture and didn't have time to do the wheels.
Oh, poor excuses. Anyway, first up this week, we've got El Maragna with a Bianchi Intenso 2016.
In
Looks
a
like
vineyard.
Vineyard, yeah.
A vineyard shot. Nice.
Well, cranks are level, but
Not Biggie Smalls.
Not Biggie Smalls.
Bit of sort of random messy stuff on the top tube, like a
Pump,
nice.
Yes, a nice. Sorry.
Smalley 73 has got a Dogma F12 with SRAM red access on it.
Ooh, I like that.
Envy wheels as well.
That's a little bit fancy, isn't
That's
it?
very fancy pants, that, isn't it?
I think I actually spotted this bike on an Instagram page that I follow, and I think it might have been Fat Creations. Presumably,
It
they might have
looks like
painted
a
that.
custom paint job.
Yeah.
I've not seen that as a stock one. I mean, it's a very expensive bike, but they've ticked all the boxes. It's very nice. It's
super nice from me.
Ben Tantasuk.8.
Yeah. Diamondback Podium.
A Diamondback. I don't see many of those around.
God, giant lettering on the down tube.
One by setup.
Ooh,
crank
efficient.
not perfectly aligned. It's quite
Stealthy, I quite like it.
Yeah, I think that's
Yeah, I
a
quite
super
like
nice, you know.
I'm happy with a super nice. We're going to agree on this. Yeah, super nice. Next up is Cycling Schwenz. Interesting. It says, where's the tandem?
Oh, I love a tandem.
Manufacturer is Bike Friday apparently, and the model is Tuesday Tandem. Not sure if that's actually
It's quite an
factually
unusual
correct.
tandem, that, isn't it? We've got little wheels on it,
Small wheels for a long bike.
but drop bar bikes.
Interesting.
Drop bar handlebars.
So I did notice here they were talking about they upgraded it to disc brakes because it was very, very slow to stop. Basically, they say it took an entire city block to stop this bike. But it's hard to know what to make this.
I do love tandems. I've got a soft spot for them, but that photo's not the best.
It's
I
not
can't
really
see what's going on.
promoting the tandem in the best of light.
No. Next, so nice.
Nice, yes.
Novakia 1452. Belgian waffle ride 3T Exploro with Campy e-car on it. That is.
Oh, I really like it. I just like that bike. It's got that top tube sort of storage box, which I feel slightly lets it down.
But for like endurance riding, it's functional, I guess.
They've got it well presented. I can't see the valve.
No, I'm going nice.
Oh, I'd have said
I think
super nice.
I think it's a super nice bike, but just presented terribly.
Well, I don't want to have an argument with you. We'll move on to the next one. This is from Deer Creek of Wimberley Zero.
Where do they get these names from?
Maybe the GCN app has got that popular now that you have to pick an obscure name like this. So this is, what is it? A Salsa and a Trek Verve.
E-bike.
Just looks like one e-bike to me. Let's face it, we don't very often have e-bikes, do we?
Oh, nice.
Just nice?
Yeah.
Don't want to assess it any more than that?
No, it's nice.
Well, it's just a nice. That was the end of the bike vault. I would say we've run out of time, but we haven't run out because time is endless.
Well, that's true, yeah.
It is true. But it is the end of the tech show for this week. So we'll see you next week. If you've got anything good to say, let us know in the comments section down below. I'm actually quite keen to hear what people have to think about the Tour de France bikes.
Yeah, me too. And yeah, if you fancy getting yourself a cap, you know what to do.
They look like a trucker.
Yeah.
Very cool.
I think this will look good when I'm flying the Tour de France plane wearing this. It's an aviators on.
You're going to look absolutely boss.
Yeah.